Hey,
Hello, how you doing?
awesome.
Yay.
Love the shirt.
Thank you. Yeah, I figure it's almost like Halloween, October, because it's still September,
Uh-huh.
but might as well. And I wore something you might not love, but I love it, so I'm wearing it.
I'm not for either side, so I'm good.
Well, me neither,
Okay.
but I'm for women's reproductive rights, and only one side
I
is
am
there
for
to
re
protect that. And if I feel like if if I don't have bodily autonomy, if my daughters don't have bodily autonomy, they're not really
Oh, that's
free.
super important.
Yeah, we're literally
I will
not
agree with that
free. So
wholeheartedly.
no, I will
Yep.
not. But yeah,
I like how you feel like you have to have a disclaimer on the button. Your
right, because
will,
I'm like,
you
I don't
can
like
wear
understand.
whatever.
Well, because like government is essentially just like they're all businesses. They're all basically our
Yep.
current like modern gangs. They control things. They do things that are illegal. They do what works for them. So I think
Yep.
it's two sides of one coin when it comes to the government, unfortunately, a lot. But at least there are some
Yeah.
things I feel like I can stand behind, and some things I feel like I can't. So
Yep.
just got to do what I can do.
That makes complete sense to me.
Yep.
So
Anyways, so how's your day?
super good. So
Yeah,
good.
so
Life's
good.
good. So good. Got the
Okay.
kids off to school. Hung out with Cody. We are good.
Excellent. I'm
Hmm.
sending you a text right now. You don't need to look at it right now, okay? It'll be for when you
Okay.
watch the first video. Okay. So,
Okay.
anyways, but yeah,
Awesome. Well, welcome back.
yeah, welcome back.
How
Totally
was
good.
how was your day?
My day was pretty good. I met with the realtor to list the
Oh
house.
yeah?
Yeah, just
Nice.
got to get the ball rolling. So, gonna be
Sweet. All
making
good.
some shifts, some transitions, trying to just look at all the ways it can be a positive, So,
Hmm. Which is kind of, you could roll it into our topic for today.
okay.
Kind of,
You'll have to make
couldn't
that
you?
leap for me. That's okay.
I'll have to make that leap for you.
Maybe.
Um,
I'm just not.
so okay, so the topic for today, if you had to say, give it a name.
For
Well,
Halloween, what scares me, I guess. What
what scares you?
what this is all spawned by there are some videos that I came across on TikTok and I was sending to Emily and I was
Mhm.
like, like let everybody live how they want, but these videos in particular are triggering me and I need to find out why. Why am I?
Especially in the transition period you guys are in right now. Like it
Yeah, yeah.
makes it.
Um, so I guess what I want to do is I'm just going to start by the most recent one I shared with you.
Let a man lead, let a man pay, let a man talk to you and make love to this mic. Men should lead. We are the sperm. You are the egg. But it's important for you to inspire and celebrate that leadership, right? He's still a human, okay? No one wants to lead someone who's just punching them all the time, right? That's the worst case, hyperbole. But be a mirror to his leadership. I've told you in other videos, right? You don't want to mother a man, you don't want to grandmother him, etc. But certain qualities of being nurturing, of being supportive, are important for a man. So not things like, oh, I'm so proud of you, babe. Like pride is not a normative female emotion like it is for men, because pride comes from some form of almost wanting respect and then feeling control over certain accomplishments. Men are more possession and utility oriented, right? Women will feel more appreciation for themselves, a form of self-esteem, right? So you want to show gratitude in terms of the feminine, right? Feminine energy. In terms of your emotions, I feel so good when you do that, right? I'm in awe when I see you do these things, right? Oh my God, it shocks me. I could never do that, right? I love how you do this. Thank you, babe. Those types of things will make a man feel good about leading. Okay, so you want to inspire that leadership, but it is his job to lead. You don't have to be like, babe, if you do this, that would be good. Buy me flowers. Don't do all that stuff. He should do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you
Yeah.
see the comment?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what
So,
I think what irks me, what I've decided about that one in particular is that like his vibe and everything is cool. You know what I mean? It's like he's trying to be like I don't even know, like positive masculinity, you know what I mean? But to
kind of.
me,
He's,
it is giving very toxic masculinity. And that wasn't like you know what I mean? But
yeah.
I think it's
Well, in the comment,
perpetuating. stereotypes that aren't true for every man and aren't true for every female. And while it's okay for people to decide, I guess, to do that, putting that on the man is like, I think it's fucking all the men up, honestly. I think that's why the men right now in certain generations have been left to like expect something that doesn't exist for them anymore.
Mhm.
Anyways, what?
Well, in the very most stereotypical, my mind goes like 4 places all at once with that one because one, I have seen that type of relationship play out in people very close to me. The Where the man leads, the woman submits, and it never leads to the kind of relationship that they think that it will. It leads to a man that has no respect for his woman and a woman who just doesn't feel like she can put herself into the relationship at all. She has to be whoever he wants her to be, not who she is, if that makes sense.
Who I was going into a relationship because that was the only thing I was taught about relationships was a hierarchy in relationships. So that is how me and Anthony essentially started, although we never fit the roles. We just tried to play them the best of our abilities. And it honestly has set us up for failure in the future and kind of led to the current situation because we kept trying to fit into certain roles that just don't work and are damaging to try to like put on people.
Yeah. Well, and when your roles as man and wife come down to just your roles as man and wife, you lose your personality. And the personality is what made you fall in love with the person in the first place. Like when you lose that, you lose everything.
Yeah.
If that makes sense at all?
No, it makes sense to me because a lot of the issues that I feel like I've had have been coming from doing what I was supposed to do versus what I thought I should. You know what I mean? Like the internal struggle and constantly like giving the side of what I'm supposed to do basically more power or more like, like this is clearly the option because that's what society would say the option is. You know what I mean?
And if it hadn't been set up like that,
exactly. And if we wouldn't keep
it would have gone
perpetuating
completely
it
different
and preaching it as though there is one way to do these things, which there's not.
When we try to shove every personality into one box, it never, ever works. It's never worked. Not all of us have the same personalities. And for these guys, it's like saying you're an alpha. You know what I mean? As soon as you say, I'm an alpha, you're not an alpha. Like,
an alpha doesn't have to say they're an alpha. An alpha is followed and never, ever decures anything.
Leaders don't need to tell people they're leaders. They just lead. Like, they just do.
Yeah. And if you're commanding, you're not a leader either. Because a leader leads by example. People just join in because that person is like showing them a way that they want to go. That whole macho, like it's literally like an old, unevolved brain to me.
Yeah. Well, I have arguably one of the most, I mean, we've said this before, but one of the most manly freaking men on the planet.
Put himself in front of the camera, just stand next to Emily, Cody. Just show that you are.
He's downstairs.
Okay.
But yeah, he's incredibly strong, incredibly capable, amazing human being. And he gives me complete freedom. Like, he never tells me this is your job and you have to do it. And, we have expectations of each other. Like we've kind of sunk into this is what I'm good at and this is what I do and this is what you do.
And then need to share you need to share in the responsibility. But like having one person who like has the ultimate say is.
Was it okay? It wasn't this one that we just watched. It was a different video where the guy says, if your woman has an Instagram, that's cheating.
Oh, yeah. Here, let me find it.
Men lead, women follow. Knock her off that pedestal so she gets back down to your level and looks up to you.
I think if you're in a serious relationship with a girl, she should not have an Instagram. That's cheating. In my opinion, I think a woman having an Instagram is 100% cheating, especially if she has scantily clad photos of herself on the internet. She's not.
The amount of money that you two girls are making, is it worth giving up a family and love? Because any man that is worth his fucking salt that you would even be attracted to wouldn't put up with it. I can tell you right now. And you, my dear, are a depreciating asset.
You can separate, but you can't actually divorce. That's not a real thing.
Even though it might be like physically abusive.
You gotta endure. People are too.
You want to stick in the relationship?
People are just.
See, I mean, look,
people
I'm gonna be
nowadays
honest.
are just pussy. Everybody quits. Everybody gives up. It's too hard.
How many 65-year-old women do we have to hear saying that I marched with the feminist movement and I bought into the fact that men are the enemy? I've never been married. I'm alone and I'm miserable and I wish I would have never bought into that philosophy.
So clearly there's a lot there, and they have been picked and chosen to incite
to show the
anger.
worst of the worst. The biggest
Yeah.
thing that came out to me was that how they say the feminist women who hate men. I think they're projecting that. They see what we're saying as hating men versus hating
Not what I'm saying.
men
'cause-
have been told they are, and what men have been like propagated to think that they are, and that hurts men because when they don't fit into all those things. Like Anthony, you're saying Cody's this stereotypical dude, you know, because he has that the right height, he has the right thing. Anthony's 5'6", never had the right height, literally always.
Well,
just
race completely
picked
different.
on. His whole life just picked on, just blah, 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 blah. You just hear that in your head, just all the ways that you are not right, you're not tall enough. He's very built and jacked and strong, so he has the like
he's
muscle
great.
part, and he's
Love
really
Anthony.
like, you know, like clung on to that, but he's also he's not into like football and the things that like he's like he enjoys it. He played football in high school, but literally because he was kind of like teased into it, because the things he wanted to do, he wanted to play soccer, and at the time it was like, oh, let me kick the ball, you know, like, and even though he really wanted to do
differently.
it, he couldn't do that because the way that the men in his life were
wasn't.
talking to him about it. Feminists don't hate men. Feminists hate the way men treat men. Feminists hate that men have set up an expectation for men that isn't realistic, that is way too black and white, and hurts a lot of men because,
Yeah.
oh yeah, Anthony, like we've talked about how, you know, like we did all these trauma salad things and stuff like that, and I have all these trauma stories. You know what I mean? And it was
Yep.
good for me to learn and stuff like that because it's obviously trauma. You know what I mean? And for him,
Yeah.
we were like, there's no trauma. There's no trauma. All this time, there's no trauma. Like there's, you know, little things here or there. But like, and now as we've been talking about it and saying just these little things, like he used to throw up every day before school, literally every single day. That tells you he did have some sort of an anxiety problem. But it was also just because it was nerve-wracking to go into that situation where every day you're belittled just a little bit. You know what I mean? That's trauma. That builds up trauma responses in your body. You want to do different things. These are your likes as you're growing up. You're labeled a nerd. You're labeled a, you know, he's been labeled all of these things and had to like basically fight those things because like that means something bad about him. And I'm like, he's a perfect man. He's helpful.
He's perfectly who
strong,
he's supposed to be.
kind.
Yeah.
But he doesn't fit that like
Box that
that
everybody.
box. And I think that's why I'm so pissed. Not so much for the role that it's trying to put me in, but for the role that it's trying to put him in that is ruining him for me. Because he's just fine how he is. He doesn't need these other things. So if the men would stop putting it on the men to be something that not every man is, then we can start to have a conversation. Stop hating women for not liking the things that you're doing. You're saying, no, women that really would be worth of any type of value, they will do this. They will be subservient. And I'm saying, you don't really like women. You don't. You want to fuck them, but that's it.
Well, and it doesn't work. If my man came to me and said, you know, you will submit, I am the man, you know, I am the leader in this house.
Yeah.
You need to be submissive. Oh yeah, you know, the defensiveness immediately
but that's you
comes
now
up.
in your 40s. Imagine you just freshly married, and
That's true.
then it doesn't start in that way, but like he just takes the reins and then you start to push and then he has to put you back in place. It starts slow and
Yeah.
it starts because of a system in place. And you can say that now, but we're setting the kids up to just like every other generation
Well,
before.
And that first sentence that the guy said where he's like, you have to knock her off her pedestal so that she will submit. That's not how you do it. Like, they would probably say that I'm not a good wife for the way that I dress on these podcasts or for the, just the things that I post or whatever.
Did
But
you
I
see what I
actually,
just did?
no,
You
I
said
turned my head at the right time. What'd you
you
do?
said they would say I'm not a good wife for the way that I dress on this podcast, and I went,
Uh-huh. Woo! Yep, I missed that. Sorry.
yeah. But so don't worry, I showed you anyways. But yeah,
That's good. But he helps me pick out my outfits, and he
exactly.
on date night, I'm like, what would you like me to wear? Because
Yeah, it's fun.
not because he tells me what to wear, but because like, of
Yeah,
course I
because
want
you're
to
not
like,
afraid and ashamed of your body, and
but
you're okay with being perceived as sexy because it's okay to feel sexy. Those are things that have been
yeah,
like demonized, like it makes you a whore to want to be able to like enjoy your own shape. Men can enjoy it, but once you enjoy it, you fucking
yeah.
whore. Get
And
off your
do you know what
pedestal.
happens seriously after when I feel like I can be sexy and fun and I can talk to literally whoever I want.
Uh-huh.
Um, when I feel that trust from him, I'm like, I don't want to talk to people that, it would I don't want to flirt with other guys. I don't want to dress for other guys. I would do literally anything for my husband because he's freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Like if I don't know, as soon as you try to like impose your will and you will submit, that goes away.
You know, it's funny.
The fun
So,
wife goes away.
yeah, because in some of Anthony's darker times, when I was finally starting to define myself in that way, there were times that I
Mhm.
wanted to wear things that he got upset about. And the way it made me feel was it was like, and he wasn't like, you can't wear anything. It was just kind of like it was
It's an
just kind of like
insecurity.
yeah, it's just like, wait a minute, I'm comfortable in this. You know what I mean? Like it just
Yeah.
it was a very heavy like feeling of just like being controlled, and it was hard to like, and that goes against our human nature, I think, and it's not something we should teach people to conform into.
hmm Yeah, because those insecurities never go away. And even you look in the Middle East at the women who have to wear the full body burqa where you
Hmm.
get a slit for your eyes and you're not even supposed to show your feet. It there's
Yeah.
even men there who are insecure about the way their wife is walking or you know what I
Exactly,
mean?
because
It will
now the women
never
can't
stop.
talk because that is too intimate. They can't talk in public. That's their
Mhm.
newest law. Did you know that?
Really?
Yeah,
No.
go look it up. Their newest rule is they can't speak in public because that's women's voices are too intimate, I guess was the thing. And I heard a
Mhm.
woman there say she would rather be a dog because at least they have a voice.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but
And
I imagine that before these things kind of changed when they started, taking away rights of women and stuff like that, it started with men like these saying, wait a minute, there is a way things are done and you're not submitting to it. And shut them down. And there are some men that really want to shut down the women's rights right now because they really feel like it's taking something away from them. But us not wanting all of these toxic things isn't taking something away from you. We're still here. We're just here in a more authentic way saying, hey, do you want to like live alongside us instead of over us? Like you're the only
yeah.
one hating on anyone, in my opinion, because like we're not trying to take away any of your rights. We're not trying to tell you what to do. We're just trying to tell you this is what, that we are all different and we're not all just going to conform to that.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And the strongest men I know are not afraid of that. They're not afraid to have a woman next to them and not subservient. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
The
like the type of guys that like, um, and honestly, Anthony used to struggle with this. And I think a lot of guys like do like just like being effeminate or like putting something on that would make you look silly or effeminate, and like it's like, oh, like you just don't want to be judged by all the other guys, really, pretty much.
Mhm.
You know who was a good example to me though, growing up to where I didn't have that shown to me? My brothers. Because they're all just
Your
dudes,
brothers are amazing.
but they don't feel any shame or anything, and it might be mental disorder, I don't know, we're all like slightly autistic or something, but like they had
But
no problem putting on a woman's
they were
dress
all
and being like,
capable. Yep.
huh? But then
They
they
were all
also
super
could fix
capable
cars
and
and fix the
very,
house and
yep.
do. Like,
Yeah, but
they
they
weren't
were
trying
like,
to hold on to any role or any status or any way to be seen or perceived. And they're the most manly men I know because they're not
right?
trying to prove fucking anything. They're just
It was
existing.
very disarming and super fun. Like it allowed you to be fun with them.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So like, uh, way to create more humor in the world, guys.
Yeah.
The world needs more of that.
Agreed. What the world needs most.
Yeah,
More
is love
Roger
and
Brothers.
personalities. More personality. The world needs personality,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think. And
Agreed.
on the side note, even if she's wearing a full body burqa and not allowed to talk, if she wants to go cheat, she's gonna find a way. Like you're not babysitting somebody does not stop their
Their
internal behavior.
desires. Their
Yep.
And there might be some women
Um,
who end up being okay in that, and it works for them. But
mhm.
I just like I
It's
don't
more
think
of
you
a
can
trust
say that
thing.
somebody's choosing something that you're enforcing on them.
Mhm.
You could never
Well,
like,
and what makes you feel safer? Maybe I should ask this to a man, but like what would make you feel safer imposing rules on your woman and like, okay, you can't talk, you can't show your face, you can't, I'm going to keep you covered in this little box so that you remain mine. Or would you rather have somebody who like has a personality that you fell in love with in the first place and like that you just trust? Like, I know
yeah.
her.
Well,
She's
that makes sense, but you realize what they're being told is you want a virgin. You want untouched. And what we're told
oh,
is if you aren't a virgin, you're like a chewed up piece of gum. And just like he said in that
we were
last
told that
video,
growing up.
he was talking about like like you're basically your value is like you know, like when they were talking about the Instagram stuff, and it's just kind of like you don't value that person as a human at all. You're just so insecure and so in need of like grasping to control. It's just
Yeah, but true control isn't
true control is of yourself and your
imposing.
reactions to
Yeah,
me.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Um, on a side note, the world needs super manly men. They are needed. The world needs all types of men. The world needs, you know what? The world needs all different personalities
Mm-hmm.
and all different types. And I don't know. I don't
Except
know
for
where I was
those
going with
types
that,
in
but
these videos who claim to be those super, manly men. Because I
well,
feel like, but they're
even in
they're
my
they're
mind, those
not.
guys they're learning. I have to see everybody as like on a different place on a path that they're learning. They think they've got it. They're a little off. They still have some learning to do. They have the potential to be these leaders and these great people, but they have to learn to lead first. It has to come from inside them, not imposing their will on other people. Like we all have the ability to learn and grow. Like I had views and thoughts growing up, especially growing up in church,
Mhm.
that I look back on now and I'm like, holy crap. Like I go back and read my old journals and things and I'm just like, who are you? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
and
yeah, I
why would you
understand. I
think
have
these
the
things?
same thing.
Why would you think these things?
I
And I think
welcome
these guys,
changing views.
hopefully,
Yes.
I hope these guys will eventually see that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
But unfortunately,
here's
they have a platform and they're teaching other guys that.
that does suck. And I'm hearing a lot of stories about how that has backfired in major ways.
Like,
But oh, okay, my little guilty pleasures, am I the asshole stories, right?
yeah, yeah.
And you've got these guys that um I'm thinking of one specific story where the girl and the guy, they both work, they both take care of things, and then he comes home and he's like, You're uh you're less than because you weren't a virgin when we got married. And she's like, Well, neither were you. Like, what the fuck? He's like,
Yeah.
Nope, you're less than, and you'll basically spend the rest of your life
Making
making
that
that
up
up
to
to
me.
me. Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's
because
like
he is owed that. He's been told he's
he's
owed
owed,
that by the world we live in.
Mhm. Which is just silly. Anyways, it did not work. He did not, the outcome was not
Yeah.
how he
And
expected.
unfortunately, instead of a
Um,
lot of guys being like, wow, maybe I've been lied to, maybe like I need to think about this differently, they think something's wrong with the women. They don't like men. This is a woman problem. This is a feminist problem. Instead of like, maybe.
Well, do you know what? Okay, I'm gonna flip it just a little bit
Do flip it, please.
because I just a hair because I'm not even sure it's these men's fault. I mean,
It's
there's
society.
some wacky
They've
stuff
been
in
bred
society.
this way.
Well, not only that, I think a lot of people are extremely stressed right now
Yeah.
because creating a life that they were sold in the beginning is so much harder. I think um, buying a house is so much more expensive. Making sure your kids can go to college, super expensive, and even just
And
to regular
stressful.
school, super duper expensive. Groceries have gone through the roof. You know what I mean? It used to be that you could have a job, you could be a janitor, you could be a garbage man, you could be an electrician, you could be any of these things, and you could still provide a living for your family. And right now, that's not
Not the
always the
case. Yeah.
case. Not the case. And even if you can provide a living for your family, it's not as comfortable as the one that you were
Yeah,
sold.
it's
Like
stressful because
it's
everything's expensive. So even though
stressful and
we've been
terrifying.
making an amount that I never even thought we would make, it's like,
Hmm.
it doesn't go
Like
very
this
far.
is all right.
Yeah.
Everything is super expensive. And when you're stressed and your husband are stressed, you you tend to kind of take it out on each other without even realizing it.
Yeah, you
Like
get irrational in your brain, you're
mhm. Your brain
literally
tries to
not
grasp for
breathing
whatever it
well.
can change.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you're stressed, you're like, this person's supposed to be helping me not be stressed. And you put more on them than they can do because they're already stressed. And I think it's just creating
Yeah.
just not great environments.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I should
And
say I don't think that like men being socialized this way is only on men because women perpetuate and uphold it too, especially Christian women who think it's like something from God. So, like, questioning it is like questioning God, and they would never, they are just so, so good, you know? And, but unfortunately, like, I don't know, like, if you want that, feel free to live it, you know what I mean? But, like, enforcing it or
I
perpetuating it is still not good.
I have a friend who's very, very religious, like
Mhm.
probably one of the most religious people I know. And she was talking a
Because
long
you
time
left the
ago about,
church.
huh?
Because it was you. I said because you left the
No.
church because it was
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, because I left the church. It was me. It was me. But no, even to this extreme, I never was. But
Yeah.
she was saying something about something her boyfriend told her to do, and I'm like, well, you realize you don't have to do everything he says, right? Like, and she just laughed and laughed, and she's like, you don't you don't question what a man says. And I'm like, hold up, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Like, you you what? Like,
Nobody's
if you
infallible.
disagree with
Everything
him,
deserves a conversation, you know?
right?
We all have valid opinions and views we can come together on.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, just a second. She says, it says in the Bible, you don't
Yeah.
question what a man says. And I'm like, oh, sweet pea,
Yeah.
we got some talking to do because nope, there's there's a lot of men I'm not doing what they're saying.
Yeah.
Anyways, but but it is definitely something that a lot of people, like a system a lot of people have been raised into,
Hmm.
thinking that it's the one and only way,
Yeah.
and it's
I mean,
really
and
not.
now I feel like I'm seeing like say we did fit into those roles, like I wouldn't be questioning anything right now because that worked for me. So if you fit in the box, you don't have to look at this and worry about if it hurts anybody else. But because this like we don't fit, the box is just right, but we've been trying to so hard. Now we're in a
Mhm.
position where like we need to make big changes and it's difficult because we didn't do like the groundwork for us to live a different way, for me to be able to take on the role of like being
Breadwinner
breadwinner and
and
stuff like that. So like we're gonna do it and we'll be fine because I'm a worker and I'll keep moving, but I can still be frustrated that I've always known who I am and I've always been the leader. I will listen and I'll take criticism, but I'm not like a blind follower. The times when I did blindly follow literally led me to this. So it's just not who I am. for that guy to like in his silly, he's being so like, women, I'm talking to you, and his comment to me like, well, you're not in a real relationship. I'm just like, go fuck yourself, man. Like, I love my relationship. I have such an awesome man who really values me as a human, and I can talk to about anything. I can laugh about with anything, and I could get mad at for things and say that, and he can say, oh, okay, I see that, I'm sorry, and like work on it, and vice versa. You know what I mean? Like, I think you're not in a real relationship. I think you want to own something in somebody, and your tiny little man syndrome is super unappealing. I don't know.
Yeah. No, it really is. And for someone that does fit into the box, like I feel like
Yeah, stereotypically just
I'm
like
the definition of the box right now.
Yeah.
Like, and not because I can't find anything else or don't like anything else. It's just like that is where I am comfortable. That's
well, and that's what
this is
like
where I
if
am. But
Cody
I
hadn't
still
had
see,
the breadwinning ability that he had at the beginning, he might not be in that
yeah,
position. You know what I
that's
mean?
true.
Like
Hmm.
things were done that set you up for that, and it's fucking awesome. It's yay that it
It
works
is
for
fucking
you.
awesome.
It just
But
can't be
I still
assumed that
see
that's
other
the
people.
normal.
Nope. Because I still see other people in my life that doesn't work for.
Mhm.
Like, and they find different ways and it's amazing for them. Like,
Mhm.
I don't know. When you find it working for somebody else, not the typical way, and then you like in my mind, I picture them being forced into the typical, you know what I mean? It's so obvious that that's not the way it's supposed to be.
Mhm. I
Like,
think if you went back and looked at me in the beginning of the relationship, and like you would say that's not even you. With
yeah,
me, with the like just trying so desperately to like, I was so afraid of like everything. I didn't know it at the time, like you figure it out as you go, but like I didn't want to be the naggy wife, but I am the leader. I am the one looking and seeing stuff that needs to be done at all times. So I
yeah.
became the wife that literally just started projects, did projects on her own. Like I did so many things where I
Mhm.
could have asked for help, or I could have done things different, but I was just so afraid of like of fitting into like the bad stereotypes of women, and so afraid of not fitting the good stereotypes of women. Like it was like I wasn't actually thinking I'm afraid of this, but I can see it in my actions and the way that I felt that I was
Yeah,
trying so hard. And all it did was like it shut whoever I was down for me to try to, and it's just a wasted time in my life where I could have been me and
something
discovering
totally,
me and
yeah.
moving forward, but I was held captive by the ideas of what I was supposed to be. And
Yep.
society held me captive by only working for those people, because you gotta have a job, you gotta have it, you have to do these things. We don't
Hmm.
have any other way of really doing things unless, barring extreme type moves and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
And as someone who saw your leadership abilities in, like, I think that was one of the main reasons we became friends is because I kind of needed someone to be the leader and to like, let's go do fun stuff. And I'm like,
And I was
yes,
always looking for
let's.
lemmings. I was like, let's go.
Let's go.
Somebody play with
And
me.
it,
Yeah.
right? And it worked. That was
Yeah.
just kind
No,
of
but here's the
naturally
thing.
who we were.
You led me though too. Even in our relationship, like you had things where you were the leader, where you helped me to like see things in different ways. So if
Like
somebody
reading
has like
scriptures every night.
say what? Scriptures
Like
every
reading
night?
scriptures every night.
Hmm. Yeah. Whales coming through the windows.
Whales, all the whales.
I think of that often. It makes no sense at all.
Nope.
Like
But it was fun.
but I can like picture it. Like, so me and Emily were having a sleepover. She had this big
Hmm.
window over her bed behind it.
Yep.
And we were having like one of those nonsensical, tired conversations. And somehow it got to like a well coming through the window. And every
Yep.
once in a while, for some reason, like that just must have been a good memory. Because I'll just like it'll pop in my head or something, like laying in there and like a big old
Whales.
blue well. Just like, and I'm like, it didn't actually happen, but I have a visualization of it happening.
Yeah, we didn't even smoke weed or anything. It was just,
No, we just liked to talk about stupid stuff and laugh about really dumb stuff. We would be rolling and just,
I think I must have had like kick-ass abs back then because we
oh
laughed so
yeah,
hard all the time.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I remember when I think it was Anthony and Brad, he was like, Rachel, you're gonna have so many wrinkles. He's like, it's okay, they're the good ones, they're the laugh lines, but you were gonna be covered in wrinkles. I'm like, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I like those wrinkles.
I look
Bring
forward
it
to
on.
Yeah.
It's entertaining.
Yeah.
Life's never boring.
Yeah. So
You can
I have one more that I know I sent you, but I want to send it again because
Okay.
like this guy might seem a little more less manly than the first guy, you know, if you just like look at him on the surface, and that's just being judgmental or whatever. But like this is what a man is to me. You know what I mean? Like when I'm like,
Yeah.
that's a real man. That's a man who's speaking for something I can believe in. So I'm gonna send you that now.
Are there any other men in this country that are absolutely on board with burning down the fucking patriarchy? Or am I the only one? Bro, like my algorithm, I've been on this 2, maybe 3 years. I've been on this journey of like unlearning. And I don't know if it's just my algorithm and the videos that I see, but I have digested so much content from women just talking about the patriarchy and male privilege and safety concerns and all these blind spots that men have. And I am just like, dude, like the level of, I didn't know what patriarchy was 3 years ago. I mean, I knew it was a word, but if you ask me, what's the patriarchy? I'd be like, oh. Like, do you know the level of male privilege it takes to not know what the patriarchy is all about? And it just feels like this subject is something that once you see it, you can't unsee it. And I'm at this point right now where I'm like, who's with me? What are we doing? What are guys doing about it? Am I the only one? Is there anybody else seeing this shit? Like, where's the rally? Are we burning the patriarchy? Like, when is it? Do we ride at dawn?
awesome.
I just like, for me, men who are talking about these things are attractive to me. So I'm like, you know,
Yeah.
I, as a woman, can tell you, not you as a man, telling me what it is to be in a relationship. I mean, you're telling a man what he is to me, and it is a lie. You're telling
Yeah.
men that they are coming into women to lead, and you're perpetuating stereotypes that are harmful to men and women at a societal level. And it's okay for people to think however they want to think and be in relationships that they want to be in, as long as everybody wants that. But acknowledging that we're just not all the same. All these things that have been like, what a woman is, what a man is, blah, 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 blah. They are all basically constructs of like the human mind that we've put these boxes and said what it is. But like, as we learn about it, like we're just so different. And even what is normal, like just take dental, like kids getting teeth and losing teeth. Like sometimes people are like, oh no, it's too early, it's too soon or whatever. I'm like, the range of normal is so large. Why can't we look at society and think the same? Because like in medical cases, there's a huge range of normal. It's not like this is what you should be. There's a huge range. So we need to societally say, like we can maybe say, you know, it's normal to not kill people. So let's like have that out here on this side, and it's not normal. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
just we can still have some sort of a, this is what it is, without it being so narrow. You know what I mean? It should be,
Yeah.
in my opinion, if you're like trying to teach someone about having a relationship, like what I'd want my kids to know is just be like, look for someone who you just really enjoy being with them, who you can have hard conversations with, easy conversations with, be silent with, someone who, you know, like it's nothing about this is your role, this is your thing. Like that stuff is just to the individual to decide. And for all of us to figure out, how can I contribute to this relationship? How can I contribute to the world? Instead of being told, this is your gender, this is your socioeconomic status, and this is where you fit.
Here's your guidebook.
Yeah. Get on board or fuck you.
Yeah.
And that's what it feels like sometimes, because it's so hard when you're doing things different than that, because we're not set up to accommodate it.
Yep.
Anyways.
Yes. Do what works for you.
Yeah.
And that's even if it breaks the norm.
Yeah. But let's make the norm not such a norm, so that societally we set it up in a more fair way without there needing to be a hierarchy. Another thing that they said in that video, when the guy said no divorce, that also was kind of like, oh, you know.
That's
like,
coming from someone who has never had the need for a divorce.
Exactly. Like, I get that people need to go through hard things. We went through hard things, but guess what? guess what? In that process of going through hard things, we broke up. It might have been only for 3 days, but still, it was what we needed to kind of push that limit to be like it was a breaking point to then start rebuilding. But like that might have literally never happened if I hadn't called it quits. Because yeah.
And
so
I think we can
sometimes-
all think of a relationship or two where we're like, oh yeah, those guys were much better apart than they are together. Like,
yes. And it's
there's-
okay for you to not work out. Like if divorce didn't have to be such a nasty thing and it could be like, you know what, yeah, we didn't work out as a couple. However, if you have kids, like it doesn't fucking matter if you didn't work out as a couple. It's just about your kids. You don't even matter anymore. You chose to bring a whole life into this world. Your life now belongs to them. That's the only thing I would say that I believe belongs to. If you bring someone into this life, the only one who owns anything are kids. They are owed and deserve your time and attention and love and quality of life because you made the decision to bring them here. You can make your decision to leave your marriage, but you can't make the decision to stop taking care of them. So it's not about you.
Mhm.
And if people
Not
maybe
about
went
you.
into it more with that, instead of being so afraid of divorce, more went into it with the idea of like, we want to be parents together. We want the best for our kids. If we don't work out, like me and Anthony have had that conversation when it was hard and when it was good, just saying like, no matter what, it's like, if we don't work out, you're in my life, regardless. We're together because our kids, we owe
deserve
them
that.
Yeah, they
Yep.
deserve that.
Well, and the flip side of that coin, another guilty pleasure I have is listening to true crime sometimes.
Yeah.
And I've been
Women
really
like
interested
to
in
prepare for their own death or to see how they can avoid it. You know,
I
most
don't know why we do it.
So
Yeah, it's weird. Anyway.
I like it too. I think we all do. I just don't watch it much.
I
don't have opportunity.
Yeah, you have to take a break here and there.
Yeah.
But the topic I've been most interested in is like there have been a lot of Mormon true crime lately. Like
Yeah.
a lot. There's been a lot.
Mhm.
And that we can't get divorced. Like there's no divorce. I can't. It's against my religion. So let's go murder my spouse. Like that's insane. Anyway, I'm like,
It is insane. It's
if you
really, really
made
insane.
if you made it okay for people to be like, I need to call it quits. You know what I mean? Then
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
it stops
realize that
insanity.
that nothing lasts for or if just that things can change and
I hope
putting
things last forever.
anything saying there's any like you can't do this or you have to do that, it's always going to fail because it's just going to.
Yep. Yeah.
Anyways.
Maybe if we stop telling people what to do,
Yeah.
life would get a little better.
Maybe.
We as humans are pretty good at figuring out what it is that we need to do. Anyway,
I don't know. I think
I
we're
don't know.
pretty good, or what we've shown to be pretty good at is finding the way to make as much money as we can off of any product to continue to grow capital and capital and capital. And now we have a system with failing infrastructure, poisons in our food, a bunch of snake oil everywhere trying to be sold because the only goal that people have is to make money instead of to make society better. And I want a world where we all are thinking about what's better for society versus what's better for somebody's bank account. Like a lot of people I know on the other side of the card, maybe on the Republican side, they're always talking, when they say things, they're always talking about the economy. And I was like, you're not a fucking billionaire. Like the economy that side builds is for a class that you're not even in. And why do I care about the economy if I don't even have basic fucking human rights? Let me go back to a farm, fuck the economy, leave me alone.
Yeah. The reason I'm not for either side, and I know a lot of people think that's a cop out, but
I mean a little bit because we do have to make a choice. Like either way, a choice is going to be made, and the ramifications of those choices are pretty big, you know? So to just sit it out is a privilege.
It is a privilege, but at the same time, I look at both sides fighting each other.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want either side, and I think they're all focusing on the wrong crap. There are like 2 or 3 very specific things that could fix a lot of things. But they're not doing it because the people in charge of those things are major donors to a lot of their campaigns.
It's always money.
All money. So if we're not going to fix these big things, it's like both sides are fighting about where to put the Band-Aid on the severed leg. And I'm like,
okay,
this is a dumb game. This is a stupid game. I don't enjoy it. And until we call it what it is, until we call it what it is, it's gonna
However, one side brags about overturning the Roe versus Wade, and the other side has promised to reinstate it. If there's nothing else being done in this, that is wholly important. As a woman,
that's super important.
Woman with kids, anybody who's like, that's important. You don't have to like everything else. The whole fucking thing sucks. Down with the government, down with everything. But women's rights needs to be taken off the table. Like, we're no longer to be controlled. We are no longer to be told. Like, it's a conversation between a woman and their healthcare provider. All of the stuff they're telling people about, like how he said, what did he say? Like afterbirth abortions and shit like that. That is not happening on any type of grand scale. Abortions happening late that are not due to some sort of abnormality or health problems are not very popular. You know what I mean? It's not like that's happening all the time. So, and if it does, it's not your fucking business. Something's happening in that life where this ends up being the choice that's being made. You're not the one in that situation that has to make that decision. So get the fuck out of the decision process.
I am with you.
Well, but if you're with me, you can't not vote. Because no matter what, the leaders suck right now and we have to do something else. And I know Trump tries to distance himself from Project 2025. And I know that our editor, Jessie, is maybe more of an advocate. If you go back and watch our 2025, she puts a little thing about it. But literally everything I've learned reading directly from the pages of it. I mean, Donald Trump is in it a lot. And I don't really think he is as powerful as he likes to believe he is. I think they like to put him in positions because all they have to do is make him feel pretty, make him feel big. You know what I mean? All Kamala had to do in that debate, it was just like, you could tell she didn't care about his rally size. She just wanted to get him rambling stupid stuff because she knew that he would. He has such a fucking big ego. She was like, you know what, though? You should go to one of his rallies, though, because people leave early. And she just said stuff, stupid stuff. And then she just sat back and smiled while he was like, didn't answer the question at all and was like, I have the biggest rallies. Everybody loves my thing. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, he's so being fucking used. If you love Trump, fine, love Trump. Just know that he's not actually as powerful as he thinks he is. And the people who have put him in power will follow through with what they've started. And they started with Roe v. Wade. They also started with things like just so many other things that have been like crumbling. One thing I do want to mention that's like completely out of this, but it just popped in my head, so I'm going to say it. Did you hear about the man executed in Missouri yesterday?
No.
He, I don't have his name right off the top of my head, but a man was just executed in Missouri. And I've been kind of following the story because Phil DeFranco, where I go for most of my news sources on YouTube, he's been following this guy's story. And there's so many people who just were supporting this guy and trying to get him out. He's claimed his innocence for 30 years. He was definitely targeted because of his race and things like that. And despite all of the information to the contrary, because of little laws and stuff like that they were able to pick apart and stuff yesterday, he was put to death.
The Innocence Project has confirmed that just in the last hour, Marcellus Williams was executed by the state of Missouri for his conviction in a 1998 murder that he insisted he did not commit. It comes despite strong opposition, including from a top St. Louis prosecutor, as well as the family of the woman Willis was accused of killing, who said he should serve a life sentence instead of the death penalty. And as several questions still surround the case that brought his conviction. Williams' attorneys claim that the prosecution mishandled the murder weapon and had improperly struck prospective jurors because they were black. But yesterday, Missouri Supreme Court and governor ultimately refused to intervene. And tonight, the U.S. Supreme Court rejected 2 appeals to spare Williams' life over the objection of the liberal justices, Ketanji Brown Jackson, Elena Kagan, and Sonia Sotomayor. Williams is the third inmate executed in Missouri and the 15th in this country this year. He was 55 years old. He will never be older because Missouri is a state and we are a country that maintains a system of official killing without mercy, even amidst evidence of innocence.
So, like, there's just like giving stuff back to the states in the way that Donald Trump wants it. The states are more conservative. And so they want that. But conservative a lot of times means religious, which means they have certain beliefs that they want to impose. So I can never like giving it back to the states where there's highly conservative run things. Yeah, that's what they want to do. But what they want to do is not based on fact. It's based on their beliefs in a God that you can't police other people over, and they're doing it. Like, they're using these rules and laws because they have these powers back in their state to do awful, horrible, racist, misogynistic, like just shitty stuff. And if people don't start paying attention, we will be Iran. Like, we as former Mormons, I think we should recognize that our church holds a huge amount of power. Like, and I can see why they hold a lot of power. And I can see why, like, the FBI and the CIA likes to recruit at BYU, because so that means that a lot of, like, there's just a lot of Mormons in a lot of powerful positions. And they are very great people, but they are also very easy to manipulate because they also very, very much believe in this fear of, like, a God and this overall plan. And so they're going to help enact those things. And they have a lot of power. So if you think just because you don't believe it and all you have, that it's just not going to affect you, it will affect you. It's just not yet. And I feel like we just have a little bit of a front hand seat to how much power maybe they do have. And a lot of people don't realize it. And in conjunction with all the other religions and stuff like that, like, I just feel like they're running the game more than people realize. And it's getting dangerous. And I don't want to be on the wrong side of history, and I don't want to live in a world where women keep losing their rights.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like I have a choice whether or not to vote.
Well, and I may come around to which side actually.
Maybe ask your girls, ask your children what they think. Kids are talking about it. Ask them.
I talk to my daughter in college all the time.
Yeah, what does she think?
I just need to feel. I probably should let her speak for her own views, but instead of putting words in her mouth. But she's got a lot of strong opinions and things, and reproductive rights are definitely up there. She's like, I don't want to live in a place where if I'm raped, I need to have a baby. Like, that seems ridiculous. So
yeah, I love the way that, like, my kids are being educated, because they're clearly just being educated more than we were. Bella, even just this morning, was like, we were talking about something and I was getting all heated, and she's like, didn't you learn in school about, like, and she was saying something about, you got to take the emotion out of it because, and she explained this whole thing, how she's like, yeah, we were taught you have to read, like, if you have an opinion, look up a center view, a right view, and a left view. And then, like, cross-reference, taking, look for the facts, take out the emotions. And
that's so smart.
I'm like, that's such a great skill that they're teaching you, because they didn't teach me that.
No,
they didn't push me to do anything because I was going to be a housewife.
No.
I went to church during school because I went to seminary. Like education was just not, like, important to me. And I'm so glad that it is important to my girls.
Yeah.
And that they're already talking about politics and stuff. Because can you imagine us talking about politics in high school? Plus, we would have been so dumb and only regurgitating what our parents said. And now the kids have enough information that they're looking at their parents and going, hey, I think I feel a little different about this than you. And then they're like, you stupid kids, you don't know from experience. And they're like, well, you stupid adult, you're not learning from history. So,
yep.
I love my kids, and they're awesome.
Important. They are awesome. And I'm glad they're thinking for themselves. That's so cool.
Yes, me too.
Like,
anyways,
and
sorry for
that only comes.
I do feel passionately about
that only
this.
comes
Huh?
From feeling. I said that only comes from feeling safe in your home too. Like, your kids feel like they can tell you a dissenting opinion, and it's going to be okay. They're not going to get disowned, and So way to go. Well done.
Thanks. All right. Well, I'm gonna be quiet now.
Never.
Okay, well,
never.
I love your face.
But thank you for this. Love you.
You're welcome. I love you.
Anyway, have a wonderful week.
Okay, you too. Lilas.
We need a freaking outro. Dun, 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 dun.
Mike. Where is it? Just kidding. Okay, love you. Bye.
Yes.
Subscribe up there.
Subscribe.
There's a subscribe up there.
Okay.
Like the button.
Okay.